Your quick stop for movie recaps. Get all the highlights and mind-blowing twists in just minutes. Our story today begins in northern Australia with Miyuki and Aikido, who are walking together in the middle of the forest. Suddenly, they find that their phone has no signal at all, and they can't even turn on the GPS. At that moment, they feel lost, and each chooses a path, insisting that it's the right one. The situation escalates between them, and Aikido walks off, leaving her standing alone in her spot. Miyuki becomes very anxious and decides to follow him, calling out to him to wait for her. After a few seconds, she hears his voice screaming and runs to help him, but unfortunately, she falls into the same pit as him. Her legs break, and she is shocked to find that they've fallen into an underground area resembling a lake. Aikido is unconscious and in a very dire state. Then Miyuki senses movement under the water and hears a very strange sound. She becomes even more terrified and tries to think of a way to escape. Before she can act, a strange creature attacks her and kills her brutally. We then move to a completely different place and meet Jennifer and Eric, who are getting ready to go on a trip with their friends. Eric loads all the bags into the car while Jennifer checks his phone. When he asks her about his phone, she pretends to have taken it by mistake and acts very naturally before returning it to him. Their friends Victor and Yolanda urge them to hurry up because they're running late. The four of them set off, stopping after a while to rest in a spot where they meet their friend Cash. From their conversation, we understand that Cash is the one who planned this trip and chose the destination. He assures them that the cave they are heading to will be a first-time discovery. Cash talks in a somewhat strange manner, which makes Victor start to feel scared. Eric reassures him, insisting that there's no danger. The girls sit together and talk about their partners. Jennifer confides in Yolanda that she suspects Eric is cheating on her, but Yolanda teases her and changes the subject, revealing that she is pregnant but hasn't told Victor yet. After their evening together, they head to their tents. Victor talks to his wife and suggests cancelling the trip and returning home because he doesn't feel safe. His wife reminds him of his promise to live life to the fullest without overthinking things. We learn that Victor had cancer in the past but has recovered. In the end, he reluctantly agrees. The next morning, they all set out together, preparing to reach the cave. Cash tells them he discovered the cave by chance while searching for two Japanese tourists. This makes Victor even more uneasy about the trip. Along the way, they spot a massive crocodile, which makes Jennifer anxious as well. Cash tries to lighten the mood and assures them he has a licensed weapon, but this angers everyone because of how recklessly he handles it. When they reach the area, Eric sees on the news that the weather is about to take a turn for the worse. Cash calms him down, convincing him that the storm is heading south, far from their location. None of them inform the others about this. They walk through the forest until they reach the cave entrance. They put on their gear and prepare to enter. We learn that Eric is the most experienced among them, so he goes in first, followed by the others, one by one. As they explore the cave, they find it empty and unremarkable. Suddenly, Yolanda spots a very narrow passage underground, and they decide to enter and see where it leads. Cash's fear and weak personality start to show, contrasting with his earlier demeanor. Meanwhile, the sky clouds over and the storm reaches the forest, shocking everyone. As they venture into the passage, they become excited about discovering more of the cave. Yolanda suggests they might find something unique and different this time. Jennifer remains scared and anxious the entire time, and Victor shares her concerns, feeling pessimistic about the whole trip. Along the way, they find the ancient carcass of a goat lying on the ground, puzzled about how it got there. They continue walking through the tunnel and notice water dripping from above, realizing there's a leak in this area. At that moment, the storm intensifies, making the weather extremely challenging. The rain floods the forest. They keep walking until they reach the same lake we saw at the beginning of the film. They are all amazed by the beauty of the lake and the surrounding mountains. Yolanda wanders around, followed by Victor. Victor and Eric take a moment to rest, wondering how no one has discovered this lake for so many years, and realizing this could be a significant find for them. They decide to dive into the lake, hoping to discover something new. They notice another water leak and are puzzled about its source. When Eric tries to venture further, Victor advises him to return, warning that the area might be dangerous. Meanwhile, Jennifer hears a strange noise nearby. She looks around, trying to locate the source of the sound. Before she can alert her friends, a massive tremor shakes the rocks, and the water surges violently, hitting them hard. They all fall into the water, struggling to climb onto the surrounding rocks. At this point, Cash discovers that the bag containing the car keys has fallen into the water. Everyone is shocked by what has happened. They try to calm down and figure out a way to escape the cave, as the entrance they came through is now completely flooded. Eric convinces them that the distance to swim out is very short, and they can easily make it to the outside. Jennifer becomes extremely anxious about the idea because she dislikes diving. She suggests staying in the cave until the water recedes recedes, and they can exit safely. Eric examines a large rock in front of them and explains that the water level is manageable and not too deep, assuring them that no one will get hurt if they swim out. He pleads with Jennifer to trust him and follow his lead before the situation worsens. Jennifer becomes even more terrified, especially after hearing a strange sound. Their only remaining problem is finding the bag with the keys. Cash tells them that without the keys, they won't be able to leave the forest. After much deliberation, they realize they have no other choice. They jump into the water to escape. Eric goes first and reassures them that he's standing on his feet and the water isn't covering his face. They all move together through the water toward the other side. Suddenly, Victor spots something floating in the water and approaching them. He realizes it's the bag they've been searching for and decides to retrieve it himself before it disappears again. He asks them to continue on the path until he arrives, and Eric insists on ensuring the path is safe first before taking them with him. He knows he will stay underwater for about 15 seconds, so he takes a deep breath to manage it. Suddenly, Victor screams from behind them, and they try to search for him in the entire lake, but there is no trace of him. His wife becomes very worried and cries out of fear. Cash and Eric go to search for him in different places, and he suddenly appears in front of them, being dragged underwater by a strange creature. None of them understand what's happening. Eric helps them get out of the water quickly. Yolanda stays in one direction alone, while Eric and Jennifer sit in another spot. Yolanda continues to cry over her husband and tells them she won't move without him. She is shocked when she sees a body in front of her, and when they pull the body up, they discover it's not Victor. After a while, Victor screams again, and they all try to locate him. When he gets closer, Eric jumps in after him to rescue him and helps him out of the water. Jennifer sees a huge crocodile behind them and screams to warn them. They swim very quickly to save themselves from death. Unfortunately, Victor sustains very serious injuries, and Jennifer tells them he must reach the hospital as soon as possible or he will die. Eric decides to take Cash and swim until they find a signal to call for help. Cash becomes very anxious and scared, feeling he can't do it. Eric tries to convince him, telling him he'll have a weapon and no one will be able to harm them. Cash laughs sarcastically and tells him it's impossible to risk his life. Jennifer sees he has a point because Eric's plan is impossible and dangerous. Eric explains to them that they are surrounded by predatory monsters and their lives are in danger. They must take risks to escape. He tells them the crocodile will reach them very soon and won't leave any of them alive. Finally, Cash agrees and asks Yolanda to help them by throwing the body to distract the monsters a bit. They take advantage of this opportunity and quietly enter the water, preparing to cross to the other side. Everything goes smoothly until halfway, when suddenly they find the crocodile approaching them. Eric tries to come up with a plan to protect themselves. He disappears underwater for a few seconds and resurfaces. Cash screams, telling him the monster is beneath him and he feels it. When Eric goes down to check, he finds nothing. After a while, Victor starts to struggle because he is already a sick man and his device is in his wife's bag. Yolanda tries to throw it in their direction, but unfortunately, it goes far away, making it difficult for him to reach it easily. When Yolanda sees her husband might die, she insists on going into the lake to get the device herself and save him. Jennifer pleads with her not to do it, but Yolanda doesn't listen and tries to distract the monster when it gets close to her friend. She helps her with everything she can and asks her to stay still and silent so the monster won't sense her. The monster passes by her, pulling the rest of her husband's body they found, taking it away. At that moment, Yolanda reaches and Jennifer pulls her in time, putting the breathing device on her husband, trying to save him in any way possible. Victor starts to improve over time. Eric and Cash reach the small passage they crossed before. Eric offers to continue alone and wait for him there since Cash is scared, but Cash refuses, saying he won't stay there alone. They shake hands, get excited again, and dive further. They are shocked to find no opening around them, and the water has moved the rocks, closing the exit. When they try to open the exit with their hands, they find it very difficult, almost impossible. They feel the water level rising, putting their lives in great danger. When they decide to return, Eric's foot gets stuck in a rock and he can't move at all. He does everything he can until he finally frees himself. Cash waits during this time, surprised at how long Eric is taking. He feels something approaching him in the water, thinking it's Eric, and dives underwater to check. He is shocked to find the crocodile in his face. The crocodile disappears again. Cash surfaces and looks around but doesn't find it. Before he can move, the crocodile attacks and eats him alive, leaving him screaming in pain. Cash disappears immediately afterward. When Eric arrives, he doesn't find him standing at the agreed spot and tries to communicate with him but gets no response. He starts seeing the same movement in the water around him, getting tense, knowing the monster is near. Jennifer accidentally smells a certain flower and tries to locate its exact spot. Yolanda seizes this opportunity to tell her husband she is pregnant, which she planned as a surprise. Victor becomes very happy. Jennifer finds an entrance none of them noticed before. At this time, Eric returns and tells them Cash has disappeared, and the monster definitely took him. He shocks them by saying the exit is blocked and they are trapped. Jennifer shows him the other opening, saying it is small but could help them. Since Yolanda has more experience, she asks Jennifer to take care of Victor and decides to go help Eric. Both enter this small tunnel and walk through it for a while. Jennifer feels the water level has risen significantly and the situation is becoming unbearable. She promises Victor they will get out of there and tries to help him as much as possible. She feels sad internally because there's no place they can escape to without diving into the water first. She decides to take Victor and climb with him to a higher rock to stay safe longer. Remembering the bag, she has to return to get it. Suddenly, she stops because she hears the same sound getting closer and searches the whole area, ensuring there's nothing. Before she can move, the crocodile attacks her, trying to reach her by any means. She accidentally falls on Victor, causing him to scream in pain. The situation remains like this until the crocodile gets bored and retreats back into the water. Jennifer realizes even this place isn't safe for them to stay. She throws some things up and climbs with Victor onto the rocks above them. The monster sees them and tries to pull Victor by his leg. Jennifer saves him with great difficulty, looks at his wound and knows he won't last and will die soon. She tries to hide all this from him so he doesn't worry more. Victor tells her he will be a father and that it's a miracle from God because all the doctors said it was impossible for him to have children. When Jennifer hears all this, she starts thinking about everything happening around her and suspects Eric and her friend are betraying her. Eric and Yolanda reach the end of the passage and they are shocked that there is still no exit. Yolanda feels despair and becomes more anxious. Eric tries to calm her down and promises that they will get out of there very soon. Jennifer accidentally looks into Eric's camera and finds many pictures of him with Yolanda. Victor asks her if something is bothering her, but she insists on hiding it from him because he has enough on his plate. Jennifer remembers that the bag is in the water and decides to go down to retrieve it. She extends her hand and tries to pull it out because she is afraid of going into the water. When she realizes there is no other solution, she is forced to go in, overcoming her fear and finally manages to grab it. She decides to return, but Victor sees the monster approaching her and warns her, asking her to run quickly. Before she can climb onto the rock, she stumbles, hits her head, and faints. Victor becomes very worried because she is close to the water and the monster could easily reach her. He pushes himself hard, stands on his feet, and pulls her to a safe place. Jennifer regains consciousness at the moment the monster attacks Victor, devours him in front of her eyes, and takes him away. Jennifer covers her face so she doesn't see the horrific scene and feels deeply saddened for him. She takes the bag and climb to the highest rock in front of her, realizing that the monster is right below her. She becomes extremely terrified. After a while, Yolanda and Eric return. They ask her about Victor and are shocked when they learn that he is gone. Jennifer learns from them that all their efforts were in vain and that they haven't found any exit. Jennifer loses control and argues with Eric, blaming him for being the reason they are on this trip. Yolanda sits beside him, crying, and Eric tries to comfort and reassure her. When Jennifer sees what is happening, she tells them that she knows everything between them. Yolanda explains that it was just a mistake and that Eric is the father of the baby she is carrying. Jennifer is shocked by what she learns, but tries to calm down to think about how to get out of there first. She tells them she sees a light coming from the other direction, which means there is a passage leading to the surface. Eric tests it with a piece of paper and finds that the attempt fails. He tells her that it's a very big risk. Jennifer insists on trying it herself instead of staying in the same place with them. Finally, they agree and go into the water. Eric tries to monitor the surroundings and ensures they are safe. Suddenly, he sees the monster circling around them and tells the two to swim quickly. He protects them with a knife he has and decides to face the monster. The monster overpowers Eric and bites him multiple times. Neither of the two looks back and they continue on their way until they reach the tunnel. When they exit, they are shocked to find themselves entering another cave. As they explore it, they realize it's the place where the crocodile actually lives and stores its food. They finally reach the exit after all of this and race through the forest, reaching their car. Yolanda tries to apologize for what she did, but Jennifer refuses to listen, telling her it's not the time for that. They drive away quickly, escaping the entire area. In the middle of the road, they find a large tree blocking their way. Jennifer manages to steer the car around it before it overturns, but she loses control completely. The car spins through the forest until it falls into the river. They are shocked to find it's the same river they were trying to escape from all along. The crocodile appears in front of them, ready to attack. Yolanda remembers Cash's weapon, grabs it quickly, and tries to kill the monster before it devours them. Before she can do so, the car sinks with them inside, trapping them underwater. Jennifer devises a trick trick to make the crocodile break the door, allowing her to escape easily. She helps Yolanda out afterward, but Yolanda screams, saying her leg is injured and she can't move properly. Jennifer reaches the shore, grabs the weapon, and shoots the monster, while simultaneously trying to help Yolanda out. Unfortunately, the monster jumps on her and drags her away. Yolanda screams at it and tries to save her friend. She begins to cry when she sees blood everywhere. In the end, Jennifer emerges alive, having managed to kill the crocodile and finish it off. The two return to the city, saving themselves from death after everything they went through. And with that, today's movie events come to an end. Stay tuned for more videos and